Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are diving into something super fascinating and honestly quite surprising in the world of early childhood education. We're looking at a wildly popular children's app that is universally praised for its brilliant animation, but has somehow unexpectedly found itself right at the center of a pretty intense debate over toddler behavior and psychology. Let's really look at the design, the incredibly colorful characters, and the real-world impact this software is having in living rooms and classrooms alike.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, what is Endless Academy? 2, meet the Endless characters. 3, the Endless app ecosystem. 4, the scary R sound. And finally, number 5, Scampy and Rocky's behavior.
Section 1. What is Endless Academy? Defining the digital playroom.
So what exactly is Endless Learning Academy? Well, it's this incredibly comprehensive iOS app created by Originator Inc., and its main goal is to prep kids, we're talking ages 2 to 6, for preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. It uses a really clever multimodal approach. That means it engages touch, sight, and sound all at the exact same time. But the absolute real magic here is their core philosophy: creating a completely stress-free learning environment. I mean, there are no high scores to chase down, no stressful time limits, and absolutely zero failure states. It's basically like a digital playroom where kids learn entirely at their own pace, completely free from the traditional pressures you'd find in typical gaming.
Now, just a quick disambiguation before we go any further, because there are actually 2 tools out there with this name. We are focusing on the first one, Originator Inc.'s character-driven iOS app for kids. The second one is a completely unrelated AI-driven platform built by a developer named Vicpa for hyper-personalized adult learning. So, just to be crystal clear, for today's explainer, we are strictly focused on the cute monsters and the toddlers.
Section 2. Meet the Endless characters, the monsters driving the engagement.
Now, what's really interesting about this app is that the ecosystem thrives on a massive cast of vibrant monsters. And they aren't just background art. They're essentially the user's digital classmates. You've got Alphabot, who acts as the guide traveling around to find new words. Big Blue and Little Blue anchor the core animations. Then you have Scampy and Rocky, who drive these highly dynamic comedic skits. And characters like Leon and Pinkerton run the spelling and phonics puzzles, all supported by a much wider cast including Yoshi, Sunny, and Grok. This vibrant roster is literally the secret sauce, keeping kids so engaged day after day.
But these monsters serve a genuinely brilliant pedagogical purpose too. They provide immediate kinesthetic and auditory feedback. So, when a child drags a letter across the screen, the letter itself actually comes alive and continuously emits its phonetic sound. It allows the child to literally feel and hear that connection between a visual symbol and its sound in real time. It is a remarkably effective feedback loop for early literacy.
Section 3. The Endless app ecosystem, a massive digital footprint.
What started out as just a single idea has completely exploded into a massive, comprehensive suite of modular apps. The ecosystem covers pretty much everything. You have Endless Alphabet and Endless Reader for foundational literacy, Endless Numbers for math, Endless Wordplay for spelling and rhymes, Endless Spanish for languages, and Endless Monsters and Kubrick for creativity. And the cool part is, they all share that exact same monster-driven, stress-free learning philosophy.
To put that all into perspective, if you bundle all those modules together into the main Endless Learning Academy hub, you get a massive application taking up 1.1 gigabytes of storage space, which is a fact, many parents' iPads are all too aware of. Access to these thousands of interactive lessons and video modules is locked behind either a $7.99 monthly subscription or an $89.99 lifetime pass for legacy users.
Section 4. The scary R sound. When phonics create phobias.
All right, so up until now, we've really been looking at the incredible innovation of the app. But here is where the controversy begins, perfectly grounded by this really vivid quote from parent Mark Thorne. In the interactive phonics module, touching the letter R triggers this aggressive guttural growl instead of your standard phonetic sound. As Thorne notes, it would visibly startle his 4-year-old, leading to active tears and literally a complete refusal to engage with any puzzles containing that specific letter.
So why does a silly cartoon sound cause such an intense reaction? Well, child psychologist Dr. Elena Rostova points out that at this developmental stage, toddlers have incredibly high auditory sensitivity. When you combine a standard motor action, like dragging your finger on a touchscreen, with an unpredictable or intimidating noise, it can inadvertently trigger a strong fear response. What was designed to just be a fun, monster-like growl ended up creating real, palpable anxiety around reading for some of these young users.
And this brilliantly illustrates some of the broader academic criticisms too. Beyond just being scary, critics point out several phonetic inaccuracies that might actually confuse early readers. For instance, the app often adds schwa sounds to consonants, so it'll say "na" instead of a clean clipped "n." It also breaks words inaccurately. Think about the word eat. It has 2 distinct phonetic sounds, but the app uses 3 separate sound blocks for it. It also teaches irregular sight words exactly like regular ones, without pointing out the rule breaks. For kids who might have speech or articulation challenges, this can unintentionally build a somewhat flawed foundation.
Section 5. Scampy and Rocky's Behavior, the Unintended Lessons of Slapstick.
This is where we really see the disconnect between the app's design and reality in living rooms. The intended educational goal was innocent enough, right? Use short, comedic animations to reinforce the contextual meaning of vocabulary words in a really fun, engaging way. But the reported behavioral impact is a bit concerning. Parents and educators are seeing kids mimic the immature and reckless actions they see on screen, throwing food, ignoring authority, and acting out. Why? Because the engaging monsters are doing these things without ever facing any consequences.
The main culprits in this whole imitation debate are Scampy and Rocky. In their animated skits, the duo constantly engages in loud slapstick comedy. We're talking shouting matches, reckless behavior, and these mean-spirited pranks played on the other monsters. Because the modules are so brief, the skits almost always end on a comedic beat. There's no constructive apology, and there is no moral correction at the end. The bad behavior is essentially presented as pure entertainment.
And, this translates directly into the classroom, as noted by primary school teacher Clara Finch. She explains that when young children see characters like Scampy and Rocky laughing after throwing food or pushing past others, they internalize that as a completely acceptable way to interact socially. They really struggle to separate the cartoon's slapstick comedy from real-world rules, bringing that chaotic, uncorrected energy right into their daily routines.
So, what does this all mean? It leaves us with a pretty provocative question. Where is the line between highly engaging edtech and unintended behavioral programming? Endless Academy has undeniably set a high watermark for beautiful, incredibly accessible early childhood education. Yet, as we've seen with the phonetic design and the character animations, even the absolute most well-intentioned features can have real psychological and behavioral impacts on toddlers. It challenges us to look closer at what we consider safe screen time and ask what exactly our kids are internalizing while they play. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the architecture of the tools we use to learn.